when I started this program, prior to starting it that Sunday, I weighed 233 pounds. And last I weighed 164 pounds. And that's almost 70 pounds release. And all this time, over 2 decades, I had, on average, I've weighed over 200 pounds. And to think that I am where I'm at, I it's hard to believe. I've lost 70 pounds. And when I think about that, it's like, what? Can you believe that? And sometimes I don't believe it myself because it all has to do with the process. And I just been happy with finding food, the food that makes me healthy and that doesn't have a stronghold on me. Uh, and it just seems like it's not weighing me down. Um, so I'm very happy with it, with this weight loss. And thank you to you, my mindset coach, to my nutritional coach. Uh, Thank you for holding my hand, pushing me sometimes up the hill. Um, but and the virtual hugs when I needed them. But yeah, that's what I would say is thank you.
When I first met my Slim on Starch client, Mary, she was sitting at about 233 pounds. At 64 years young, she decided, I'm gonna make a change here. And now she is at 164 pounds. Over the course of our work together, she has released 70 pounds. Her blood pressure's down, her A1C is down, and I'm gonna let her show off about it today. Just as a friendly reminder or as a welcome, I'm Healthy Emmie. I'm a nutritionist, a weight loss specialist, and the creator of the Slim on Starch program. And today I'm highlighting my Slim on Starch client, Mary.
Well, my story began, or my story about weight and my image. I would say maybe it started when I was in the military. Uh, being in the military, you definitely you have weight standards, and I would say the first 15 years I never worried about my weight image at, at all. I mean, it was never an issue. I ran. I was very active. I met my goals. I just never needed much attention. And in about, I would say, when I hit 15 years, and it was also time that me and my husband went through IVF treatments, and it really changed my hormones. And I found that I wasn't able to regulate my food, and I think also because wasn't a successful procedure for us too. I think I was probably dealing with a little bit of depression also. But you know, in the military, you continue on and exercising at that edge, and then I creeped over that edge to the point where just before I left the military, I was on the weight program. And, but I was healthy, I was exercising, I'm a runner. Well, I used to run marathons, I don't run anymore. But I would say that, I will say maybe from that point on, there's been periods in my life where I'm just struggling to maintain a healthy weight. I would say for the last 20 years, I've been trying to maintain a healthy weight and have been able to do that. Um, but I always felt, oh, my numbers, my annual physical is okay. I'm exercising. So I wasn't, I mean, I was definitely concerned about it, but not to the point where felt like I needed to take action. Um, Fast forward to last year, or excuse me, 2022. And that's when I had my annual physical, and that's when my provider said, I want to put you on a diabetes medication. It will help you uh, lose weight and then also bring your H1C or my glucose levels down. And I was shocked. But I mean, obviously, I was in and out of being pre diabetic for about 5 years. And I So I don't know why I was surprised by that, but the ramification of that, it just kind of really hit home for me. Um, I had an uncle that died of complications from diabetes. My grandmother had diabetes. My father had diabetes, who died of a stroke. My brother, who died at the same age I am now, he had diabetes. And so it really resonated with me when she made that statement. And and I know what she was saying, but at the same time I thought this is something that I should be able to do on my own. So I didn't immediately say, okay. I said, give me a few months to make a determination, give me some time to figure out, to think about this and what I need to do. So I months went by and I thought, okay, Mary, you got to do something. You're not losing weight. Uh, Something has to be done. And so uh, that's when it was like 9 months later, I decided, hey, I'm going to go ahead and take this medication. And that's when I saw your program.
Mhm.
And it was interesting because, I sometimes I think of those YouTube videos where they say, well, contact me and get more information and I can help you lose weight or whatever it might be. And I usually ignore that part of the video, a YouTube video, but something about what you were saying, um, it made me listen a little bit more. And anyway, so and that's that happened in 2023.
Well, I'm glad that you did listen because the transformation has been unbelievable. So I think,
Mhm.
what you experienced is not a unique experience in terms of knowing that we have these genetic predispositions when we think about our family members
Yes.
and people that came before us. And we sort of think, oh, it might be in the cards for me, it might be down the line, but it's always down the line, down the line. And you said you sort of
Yeah.
teetered in the pre-diabetic. And then when you get that, let's say, diagnosis from the doctor, that shock that you have is so valid because it's, oh my gosh, it's actually happening. It was always off in the distance, but now it's here and it's manifested and I have to deal with it. You mentioned shock was one of the emotions that you experienced, shock being that initial disbelief. But what other emotions came with that after the shock sort of wore off?
Well, interesting. I felt like I was in control. I felt sad. Um, I've oh wow, okay. So, as far as body image is concerned, I never really felt like, really bad about my image. I knew I was big, I was overweight, but at the same time, I just kind of accepted that. But I was so, there's a whole group of emotions that went through my mind. And, um, I am tearing up now only because I reached a point before I saw your presentation and get really, really emotional about this. And I'm not sure if I ever even mentioned it um, throughout this journey that I've been on. But um, it was Easter Sunday. And a few months before about a month or so before I saw your program, and I was at church, and they had set up a little cave that represented um, uh, the tomb that Christ was in. And our pastor welcomed us and asked us if we had something in our lives that we needed a transformation, that we need help with. To write it on a piece of paper and put it in that little cave. And again, I'm not that kind of person that do that kind of thing. It's good that she did that. But that Sunday, I got up and I got a sheet of paper and I wrote one word on it. I folded it and put it in there. And that was it. you know, it's not something I'm even thinking about. And believe it or not, it wasn't until I had lost 35 pounds in your program. And I was working on a speech and I was working on transformation. And I remembered that I had done that. And all that time, I, um, so uh, that I had written on that piece of paper, obesity. That was the word that I had written on there. So up until that doctor's appointment, I knew I was big. I knew I had to do something. And I was ignoring the things that were going on. But at that point, I knew I had to do something. And it's like my mind was saying, Mary, you need help. You need help. Do something. But how did I feel? I would say I felt frustrated.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing this with
with
me.
not.
That was a
Yeah,
really beautiful share, and it shows how deeply this sort of plagued you, but also the gravity that has been lifted from you, that was
yes,
pulling you down, and now you're free, and now you fly. There's a quote.
yes,
Yeah, there's a quote that
yeah.
I love, which is,
Oh my
uh,
goodness.
"You like that, huh?"
Yeah.
Yeah. There is a quote that I love, which is, we have to let go to make room for something better. And
Yeah.
the obesity, the weight, yes, it was a physical weight that you were carrying, but there's so much more that's wrapped in it. It's not as simple as just letting go of the weight. And so for you to take that
Yeah.
brave step of putting that away, putting away the obesity, putting some closure to that chapter and starting with something new,
Yeah.
like I said, you're free. It's opened you up. And now you can kind of
Yeah,
press play on your life.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Decide, we get on the phone and we meet each other, and I learn about your story and you get started in the program. Tell me about what's going on in Mary's world during this time as this shift starts to happen at the beginning of our work together.
Wow. Well, it was quite a shift for me. And it was amazing. You know, I've never thought I would, get on the phone and call you up and, we would have a conversation. And I'm on this program and I know that I was 100% in the program. But being 100% in doesn't mean that, don't make mistakes along the way. But 100% like, okay, there's something about it, about this program that made me excited. It just like um, the process, the format, it is really looking at the wholeness of Mary. And so right away there's all these changes um, around me. I know this might sound funny, but I was introduced to this community of of colleagues that bring their meals to work every day on a regular basis. I was so surprised by that. It's like, I've been working with you for seems like years, and I didn't notice this, that this thing about, bring your lunch to work and on a regular basis. And so that, but certainly something that kind of I was keyed in on. Um, and, around me, um, I think I was willing to also get help, like the other outside of weight um, program. This was so successful across the board, 360. And I thought, what about with my job? And so I also went on a journey to improve my performance on my job. So it was things people were seeing for sure.
Yeah.
The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So, you enter this thinking, I'm going to release weight on this program. And then we realize, wow, this is about, like I was saying earlier, a lot more than just my relationship with food. This is permeating into every
Mhm.
area of my world.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Can you tell us what goes into Mary's lunchbox during the program, what you were bringing to work?
Well, first of all, always oatmeal. I just love having oatmeal first thing in the morning. Kind of reminds me of my childhood. Oatmeal was one of the first foods that, as a little girl, that I was able to make. I would put the oatmeal on the stove, and I mean, we really enjoyed oatmeal growing up, and um, fast forward umpteen years later, and I'm eating oatmeal every morning. A banana, half a banana. I am not a big fan of bananas, but it's like a thing with me and my husband. We've made a commitment. We are going to eat a banana every day. So I have half a banana, and he has half a banana. He loves bananas. So he is actually giving up for me having a whole banana. So we have each have a half a banana each morning. So and of course the main thing, and I'm saving it for last, saying it for last, and that is veggies. I uh, will oftentimes, if I'm at home, I will oftentimes eat my veggies and then remember, oh, I got to take a picture of this. So it's just because I love my veggies. So I always have usually it's just frozen veggie mix that I heat up in the microwave at work. So that's my breakfast. So I take that. And well, I say breakfast, but it's actually my just my first meal of the day. And sometimes that happens like it's 7 o'clock, and sometimes it doesn't happen until 10 o'clock. Um, the other things that I have in my lunch bag would be either rice, potatoes, sweet potatoes, plantains, yuca, corn.
Mhm.
Normally, I would have definitely have beans. I love beans, and of course, the main, the star of the show, vegetables. I
Mhm.
always have vegetables, and sometimes I'll have kimchi or sauerkraut on the side.
All
So
right.
that's what's in my lunch bag.
You are fueled on whole
It's a
plant
big lunch
foods.
bag.
Yeah, I love it. And that's, you have to eat more in order to weigh less. We got to eat big if we want
Yes,
to release weight.
yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
So you're
And sometimes I bring extra just in case.
yes, because worst case scenario, you just bring it home and have it later that day or the next day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So things are going great. You're eating all these whole plant foods. You're releasing weight. What, if any, challenges are you running into?
Challenges there are. One of the things that was very hard for me is that I was on SOS, eating SOS slim on starch foods, but then moving into what you call weight maintenance foods, and trying to decide which ones to choose, um, and adding that to my diet, add it to my meal plan. I find that it takes so much more energy for me to work with having those items. And then also my signature meals with I adore. But sometimes, afterwards I was saying, was it worth it? Because sometimes some foods, that are highly processed make me sick. So I have to deal with that too. And yeah, so as far as that challenge, I would say that is one of the biggest challenge for me. Um, Life would be great if it was SOS, but no, it's not.
I know, I hear you. We live in a non-SOS world, which it does make it hard. I remember when
Yes,
you first experienced, I remember you first experiencing McDougall's Revenge, as it's called, and me
yeah,
explaining to you that phenomenon. It happened last summer, I remember, because you were like, what the
yes,
heck is going on here? But it's really
right,
eye-opening to think about, wait a minute, I used to eat that food all the time. It must have been
yes.
really causing major destruction, but I was just used to it.
Mhm, mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Before this program, my Fridays was, I was so tired from work. And Friday evening, I would get a big bag of potato chips and dip, a dairy type of dip. And I would never eat that now. There's
Mhm.
no way that I would eat that combination now. One, no, no way. That alone would cause me to be rather ill. and I wouldn't want to do that.
So finding that balance can be tough, but there are some areas where you were really successful in finding that balance. When you went to the F1 races, for example, can you talk?
Yes,
Yeah, talk to us about
yes,
that
I
primary.
did. Yes,
Yeah, talk to us.
yes, I did. Okay, okay. I broke the rules and I brought in my potato. I had it at the bottom of my purse, but I also had my letter. And thank you very much for writing that letter for me. I greatly appreciated you doing that because of the fact that it meant so much to me. And it meant also that I really did, I said to have the support of you and um, and everyone. Why why eat something that's not good for me? Um, Luckily, I had my sweet potato, and actually, I did eat that as we were leaving. I was still hungry, but luckily there was a few vendors that they had like steamed rice, and I was able to get some, lettuce, tomato, um, at the Formula One. But yeah, I was very much concerned about not being able to bring in food uh, into the event, and there not being anything there, and being there for quite a bit of the day. So yeah, it was a challenge, and your program it allowed me to go forth. Like when I go to a restaurant with friends or family, I don't feel embarrassed. I or anything, and feel strong in the fact that I can um, ask for items that don't have oil in them, and say, well, do you have this type of item? Oh, and if you don't, it's fine. That's okay. So I'm just kind of like giving them a out so they don't have to like provide that item or try to go out of their way if they don't want to. But that has been one of the things that I greatly appreciated with this program.
Yeah, you found balance there, and you kind of turned it into this kind of fun challenge of let's see what I can do here, and I'll do my absolute best.
Yes. Yes.
What has changed since first you can show off about how much weight you've released and talk to us about how your life and your health has changed?
Well, when I started this program, prior to starting it that Sunday, I weighed 233 pounds. And last, I weighed 164 pounds. And that's almost 70 pounds release. And all this time, over 2 decades, I had, on average, I've weighed over 200 pounds. And to think that I am where I'm at, I it's hard to believe. I've lost 70 pounds. And when I think about that, it's like, what? Can you believe that? And sometimes I don't believe it myself because it all has to do with the process. And I just been happy with finding food, the food that makes me healthy, and that doesn't have a stronghold on me. Uh, and it just seems like it's not weighing me down. Um, so I'm very happy with it, with this weight loss.
Yeah, you really should be so, so proud of yourself. We talked about that lightness and that feeling of freedom and that liberation and gaining control back. Getting that news from the doctor that wasn't news that you would want to get, and now being in a place where you feel confident in your food choices, your body is healthy, you're getting healthier by the doctor's appointment. That's a good way to live.
Yes, yes. And I have a new provider, uh, medical provider, and I went in, and this is, I've been in the program like 4 or 5 months, and she looked at my numbers and she was like, wow, what are you doing? And, and I explained to her what was going on. And, um, my numbers were just amazing. I was out of that pre-diabetic range, completely out of it. And, uh, but since I had it, I went to see her every 3 months, so she could see. So she was seeing me lose weight, my blood pressure going down, and it was just. And she was really happy. She said, "Oh, and you did it without medication." So it was nice to have that cheerleader in my medical provider.
Which unfortunately that can be unique. There are some situations where they want to give you the pill, they want to give you the potion, and to have a doctor that really supported these lifestyle changes is amazing.
I'm having problems hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear
Okay.
you now.
I think it's because my cat was hitting the mute button. You know me.
I love your
Thank
cats.
you. You always see them on the Zooms. So
Yes.
I would love to ask, because you've been with your lovely husband for many years, how he responded
Yes.
to you eating so differently.
Oh, throughout the whole process, and he loved me, when I was skinny, 120 pounds, and loved me when I was 233 pounds. I don't think he really, anyway, was much. But uh, when I first started losing the weight, and he said, "Oh, Mary, I'm so proud of you. You've done all this work, and I see the results. That's really good." So again, he was a cheerleader for me, but he's always been a cheerleader for me.
Yeah, because
A
it seems as
cheerleader for
though
me.
he was focused on your well-being and your happiness and your health and wanting you to be around. So it wasn't about the
Yes,
food, it was about
absolutely.
Mary.
So it wasn't about
Yes, absolutely.
Is there anything else you would like to share about your story?
This program has worked for me tremendously, um, and I feel like I'm still continuing on the journey of not so much losing weight. That seems like the byproduct, but all the other steps um, involved in the process. Um, Looking, just having the energy and the time, and just to be, with my family, with friends, to be more alert. I definitely appreciated, and uh, I like being healthy, and I really do like being healthy. And um, this is a program that has worked for me, and I think it's one of those things that can work for so many other people if they have the challenge.
well, healthy looks beautiful on you.
Yeah. And thank you to you, my mindset coach, to my nutritional coach. Uh, thank you for holding my hand, pushing me sometimes up the hill. Um, but and the virtual hugs when I needed them. But yeah, that's what I would say is thank you.
Mary shared that she wrote the word obesity on a piece of paper and put it away to let go of it. And so to celebrate this, I want everybody to comment free from obesity, because you are choosing to free yourself from something that could negatively impact your experience here on this earth. And you're unwilling to do that. You're gonna free yourself from it. Mary, I'm so proud of you. I'm so honored to be able to call you a Slim on Starch client, and thank you for inspiring all of us. If Mary's story resonated with you, then I highly recommend you click the link in the description to join the Slim on Starch program, and you can be next. I love you, honeys, and I'll see you in my next video.